The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. A bunch of you have, this is not turning into a stock channel, but several of you have written me about kind of how to read money, and there's been a couple theories that get thrown around. I know a while ago we were hearing that not IDW, I was almost saying IGN, IDW was about to be delisted. And I don't know where this got started. If so, where did this get started? Somebody was talking about it on a live stream or something, and but no, the only delisting was from Comixology. But anyway, there was this. I think that the basic summary on will they get delisted was this idea that if the stock drops down to $1 per share and continues to drop, it falls some threshold, and if it's there for more than 15 days, it'll be delisted from the stock market. That's not exactly so. That's not accurate as a statement. Just full stop. It's not like people are just randomly delisting things, not delisting the. It just doesn't. Whether their stock is worthwhile or not. Sure. But there's a lot of misinformation. There's also some people said not 15 days, it's 30 days. And then it will get, it's because people tie in a bunch of things. I think you can say IDW, the company, puts out comics that are unreadable or garbage. I mean, I think you could make that comment, and if that's your opinion, it's yours. You can't really argue with that. That's your opinion. It is what it is. But then if you mix that up with like logistics of the stock market and you start playing with kind of hard numbers, then you get yourself into trouble. I'm not sure why people do it, other than it's kind of fun to clown on things. But it's not how it all functions. So you can even read, there's the earnings call transcript from Q1 of this year. It was March 15th, that IDW, and it missed by 4 cents, I believe. Its targets had revenue of $6.5 million. It's down 44%. So, I mean, IDW is in bad shape, no doubt about it. And I mean, things aren't good. Definitely, if you read the results, you'll see a lot of people from IDW aggressively talking about how they're focusing and their solid performance and consolidated results, and here are all the reasons, and they're definitely going, and we're taking actionable steps, etc. Lots of initiatives. But the reality is, the company is struggling to land. They've lost some licenses, and they're not landing anything new. And just the attention isn't there. If you're a media company, you could pretty it up with all kinds of different statements, but at the end of the day, if you're a media company, you have to sell books. You have to sell product. You have to sell movies. You have to get people into the theater. Whatever. If you're a music company, you have to sell music. That's you could talk about a lot of other things going on, but this core, your goal is to get your media into the hands of somebody who will pay for it, and that's fundamentally the problem with a lot of these companies. Whether they're woke, not woke, invested, movie option deals, blah blah blah, all that stuff is nice window dressing. The question is, and if I was sitting on the board or I was sitting on one of these calls, I would say, did you move books? Did you sell comics? What was your average volume? How many did you put out? And so whatever excuses or kind of however you want to portray that picture, that volume is important. So IDW is not at imminent risk of getting delisted. Unfortunately, it's just, you can go up and it's still listed right now. It's been in terrible shape for a very long time. But it's still there. So IDW Media Holdings, for what it's worth, is right now, as I'm doing this video, at 0.75 cents. And if I go back, it has been under $1 for pretty much 3 months, definitely 2 months. It's been under $1 steady. Obviously, it is still listed, and so that they're going to get delisted if there's, again, I'm just telling you, somebody who's invested, who's managed companies, who's done rounds. There's not a 30 days and you're out clause. Some videos report on that. I don't. Again, I don't know what to say other than that is invented. That is not how the rules go. And there's lots of stocks that hover around there. It's there's reasons why you can get delisted. There's not a magical rule about that. If you look at the year to date, the peak came in August of last year when it briefly was at $2 a share. And a lot of that was because if you look at the volume of activity, some money got pumped in and they cleared up some debt. Well, before that, they were hovering around 1.5-ish. And then for the entire year to date, for 2023, they only briefly they were at $1 for much of it, but not for any length of time. Briefly up to 1.1 back in early January. But for the last 3 months, we've really been sitting under $1, under 95 cents since late February. So that's just where it's at. As long as I've got you, so again, the IDW, don't misread what I'm saying here. Not healthy, not producing a volume of books. Their earnings call and the transcript and all that was about a lot of different initiatives, things they want to do, but it avoided the kind of the crux, the heart of the argument, the core question, which is, are you selling books? They are not. They've got angel investors. Actually, I should rephrase that because angel investor is an actual thing. It's a specific term, but they have investors who are somewhat long in the tooth. I think you probably got some investor fatigue in IDW, and that, if anything, is going to spell their doom. If people are just like, I put up enough money, I'm not going to put in more. There's not a ready-made. If there needs to be a big money change in ownership at IDW, that's going to be a big problem because they've got a long track record now that is pretty stable. And when I say stable, I mean poor. It's been stably poor. It's been poor for a while. So, there's not a story that can really be told saying, hey, if you pump a bunch of money in here, then we're going to do great. That unfortunately is not likely. And if you look at the long-term graph, if you go back, say, 2 years, you've got the stock up around $4. If you go back 5 years, you get a terrifying picture. But again, these things are a little misleading because more money came in, stock was diluted. There's a lot of reasons why, the pictures look the way they do, and it's not just a drop. But IDW is not healthy. But I was about to make a different point, and I just wanted to come in here and say it while I've got you. It's very important, and this is an old kind of graph maker statistician trick, where they'll, what I would advise you is if you're trying to assess financials or you're looking at somebody's presenting a picture, look at the vertical legend of numbers. And what you want is a graph that starts at 0 and goes up to whatever it goes up to. But it's important that it starts at 0. What a lot of news companies, left wing, right wing, all different news companies and blogs and people on Twitter and so on, have done is they're showing you a snapshot. They're showing a partial version of that graph where the vertical axis starts, at say 50 and goes to 60. Now, why aren't they showing you the, 0 to 50? Well, because the graph looks more dramatic when it's zoomed in. The various drops look a lot more telling. So right now, for example, something that's gone on is Fox News, the news station, parted ways, fired, I don't know what you want to say, with Tucker Carlson. And in doing so, Fox News dropped. Tucker Carlson was their highest rated, primetime host. Probably is going to be trouble for Fox, I would assume, in the short term. Maybe they get somebody new on. A lot of people said it when Bill O'Reilly was let go, that was going to be the death of the station. It obviously survived. So, it can keep going. But Tucker Carlson leaving is a big deal. And Business Insider posted the headline, Fox News stock loses $962 million in market value after his exit. And they show this graph that looks like the stock has just fallen off the face of the earth. But if you look at that vertical axis, it goes from $34 to $32.30. So while it is a drop, it's a fairly, it's a percentage drop, no doubt about it. But if you zoom back and look at it in the context of, a full graph, it looks a lot less impressive. What you'll find is back in November of last year, September of last year, the stock was lower. It was actually down at 30. And the high is somewhere around 38. But it's, we've seen the stock back in 2020 below 25. This was during the January 6th stuff. You've seen it up above 44. The stock, when you see these tiny ranges, it paints a picture that is not always accurate. And even if you really dig in and you look at this article and it says, they lost 962 million, which is a lot, shit, that's a ton of money. Then the headline gives you this misleading: Fox Corporation stock fell as much as 5% on Monday and erased 962 million in market value. And then underneath that, in a little tinier paragraph, it says, Class A shares of the media company recovered slightly and were down almost 3% at 2.6%, meaning that the erasure of 962 million now is an erasure of 400 and about 70 million. Okay, still a lot of money. But the point there is these drops, if you take a drop in a moment of time, you get a pretty inaccurate picture. Same thing's going on with Budweiser right now and a lot of products, and it is manipulative. The manipulative part is people are taking the drop, they're showing you an inaccurate graph that shows you just a portion of it, and they're taking the value of the total loss without calculating in that these things go back up. And so just for what it's worth. But IDW, I don't know, may get delisted at some point. It's not going to be because of the reasons that have been stated. Company is definitely not doing healthy. Definitely not. So, by the way, just to get in front of it, no, this is not a fence sitter position. It is called a intelligence. It's just called facts. It's called facts position. The facts are the company is not doing well financially. Its stock is worthless. It's going to have a hard time bringing in investors, and it's not selling volume. All that is terrible. You don't need to add in and by the way, they're about to be delisted, because that may or may not be true. Probably is not. He's not in the short term. I mean, who knows? Look, it could happen tomorrow, but it would be for different reasons than what everybody gave. And so it's. I'm always amazed by you get this news that is awful, like terrible, terrible news, and they're like, oh, but it's even worse than you think. It's like, it doesn't need to be worse. It's already terrible. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for listening.